properties, not default. Microphone check 1, 2. Hello, hello. There we go. Let's turn the music down a little bit. At least here. Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. I thought we're gonna do a little bit of traditional. It's been a while since we did traditional. Let me straighten the camera a bit. I think this is straighter. And we're not just gonna do normal traditional, we're gonna do something interesting, namely brown paper sketching. And not just brown paper, but something funny, like if you ever have some packaging paper, it can be actually really fun. The outside is white, so I don't care about that, but I do care about the inside. Just because this already gives you a nice little thing to start from. Hey Manuel, hey Berna, hey Bruhel, 83-1 Mark, Bogdan, Ru, and Anurang. Welcome everybody to the stream. So I'm gonna put this away. I just wanna ideate a little bit here. This was today's. I felt like sketching something. That's also why I wanted to. Yeah, it's cardboard, exactly. So I wanted to do something traditional just because I felt like doing this as well. Why is my camera not straight? Come on, be straight. Well, I mean, you can be. You don't have to be straight. I mean, you can be whatever you want. It's just I would appreciate if I could draw better here. It's that time of the week again, Kim. Yep. Okay. So I was thinking either a robot or some sort of vehicle. I feel more like a vehicle, so it will probably be a vehicle. There is no rubber band this time around. The rubber band is for the mic, not for the camera. There's the difference. What shall I? Well, let's do some sci-fi vehicle. Let me see if we can do something. I'm just gonna do some random sketching here. Duct tape? No, it's just this is actually a proper camera setup. The only thing is that it's a little bit loose, and sadly I can't make it much more tight than it already is. So when it comes to vehicles, I really like APCs, so stuff that are similar to APCs that also are a little bit sci-fi. So I think I will try something like that. Yeah, also, so this stream, I will be more doing my thing, but I will be answering all sorts of questions if you guys have them, and I will also be taking break from drawing if you have any tutorial-like questions. Quack tape. Yeah, you can call it quack tape. Flying truck carrying cardboards. Let me see, because for now I like the idea of having wheels. I don't necessarily want to make it flying. I don't know where I saw it not so long ago, but I saw some sort of APC with 2 wheels in the front. And I just really like that sort of idea. I want to explore that a little bit more. Maybe I should do also some side views instead of jumping straight into 3D. That would make a bit more sense if we would have let's put it above it. Something like this. I want it to be like nice and sleek. Something like that. Rhodesia official, is there a way we can submit our stuff for you to review? Yes, thank you, Manuel. As Manuel says, I do have a Discord. Link is in the description. And you can, there's a feedback channel, and I try to look in there and help people as much as I can, but even if I can't, there's very lovely and helpful people just like Manuel here. And we will definitely take a look at your stuff. It's a bit too low and too long now. I feel like it should be slightly closer together. Yeah, we're gonna. We're not gonna tear it to pieces. Don't be afraid. Okay, I think this is a better setup like that lengthwise. The only thing, so I really like these sort of APCs. The only problem that I see with them, at least that I personally have with them, is their silhouette is relatively boring if you make them streamlined like this. So that's not so nice. Looking at stuff is one of your main talents. Okay, so maybe I'm going to ditch the super streamlined version, and I will do a little bit something like that as well. Somewhere up there. So I'm trying to just make the silhouette. Technically what I could do for this is just switch to a, where do I have, let's take CG3 and just do something like this. Yeah, it is visible. Sorry about the light, but like the sun is shining like crazy, and there's not much I can do about that now. So 1, 2, 3. This would be the backward. Let's see. So as I said, I really like using these sort of silhouette approaches to design, just because you see things in it that otherwise you don't come up with, and like your subconscious brain just puts shapes together that consciously you won't necessarily notice. I could go to a hover mode. I mean, why not? Because right now I get a hover feeling out of these things that I'm doing here. The first truck I do looks like a female from Cyberpunk limousine truck. Oh yeah, it could. Yeah. That's not what I want, so good that I stepped away from that. that is, it could be because I've been playing Cyberpunk. You're right. Mark asks, do you work from a fixed perspective that you prefer, or does it reveal itself while sketching? So when you build up perspective as you go along. I usually work from a slightly 3/4 perspective. So this is pretty much the perspective that I like and draw most in. Thank you, Sarah. And thank you, Paist. Well, I think it will be recorded, so Paist, you can watch it later as well. But thanks for just popping in for a short time. So I do like this here. So it has a little bit of that speed to it. It can carry some sort of weight in the back. And, well, obviously the wheels would need to be bigger. I would try to make it a little bit bigger in either way. Yeah, if you hear a lot of noise, it is extremely, well, not extremely warm, but it is quite warm. And the windows and doors to the balcony, everything is sort of open. So there's going to be some stuff filtering in. Hey, Alexander. Okay, So now we have sort of this shape, and now we're just filling in. I hope you can see. Bring it a bit more to the center. So we're just filling in some detail ideas now. What could be what? We could have sort of a access hatch here, and then we have like the hover instruments here and here. Interesting, thanks. Been struggling locking myself to a fixed perspective. Well, I would say always do what's the most comfortable for you. For me, actually, drawing from side view is actually a bit less comfortable than doing immediately the 3/4 view. So you see, when I was ideating for this one here, they were all like, you can see this sort of 3/4, and here as well, this 3/4. It's just because this is how my brain sort of works, and that's somewhat comfortable for me. So I would say always do what's more comfortable, but here in this case, it takes much less time to ideate like this than to redraw this in 3/4 over and over again. So, alsjeblieft. It's sort of a hover truck, so I was thinking of a cool APC, sci-fi APC, but then Manuel also mentioned something about the flying truck. And while I'm not that much into flying trucks, I do love hover stuff. So now I'm trying to transition into sort of an interesting hover truck something. Let's see what comes out of it. So the idea is, whenever I draw something like this, I also try to come up with a story, because if you have a story in the background, you can add functionality to your design. So I imagine this would be like, you had in the Old West, you have those carriages with the big wheels, and then the whole bunch of horses in front of it that were doing the post, I think. Even I think this is like German post sign, but this would be something like that on a futuristic desert planet. That is being colonized. So it's sort of like Wild West, but in the future. And then this thing would take people and all sorts of luggage and stuff around. So let me see a side view for this one as well now. I'm gonna take a lighter brush. Rhodesia joined the Discord and shared my latest work. Yeah, I'll take a look as soon as I have some time. Oh yeah, the shock. I don't know what it was called. Some shock response, something like that. Okay. That would be the top. So we'll do something like here. Then we have something there. But I don't know if I would call that a hover truck, because technically that was flying high in the sky. Stagecoach, yeah, that's the one with the horses, exactly, stagecoach. Okay, and once again we are going to try to stick to an hour. It's becoming a running joke, me wanting to stick to an hour with these streams. Well, the good thing is that I want to limit myself to this one design, and when I'm working traditionally, I can do much less fixing, so I have to live with my mistakes. So there's a relatively high chance that this time around we could actually stick to that a lot of time. But let's see. Shock absorbers. Sort of, yeah. If you mean these, yeah, they are that. Yeah, for me, hovering can do maybe a meter max. I mean, if it's going on bumpy terrain, it can be hit up in the sky. But if you can lift up to 10 meters or above the buildings, which technically in the cyberpunk game, they're like flying above the building. They're like almost like helicopters. Those trauma team. That's what it's called. Trauma team. There you go. I knew I can get there. I watched a couple of YouTubers, Chroma Mama. I watched him lately, and they just draw straight out. They have this ability of visualizing exactly what they want in their head, and then drawing that. And I'm so jealous, because my style of drawing is just endlessly noodling on a page until I have sort of a form that I like. It's not really, what's the word? Smart. I would say it would be nicer if I would be able to think about what I want to draw, just to speed up the process. So here in the back we could have sort of like a defense turret, and then this would be the driver's area, and this is the door. I sort of like this. I feel like I can probably push this a little bit. It's a bit too long there, but I do like this. Hey Zamzam. Oh, he does. I didn't know that he has a book coming out. I will have to check it out. Yeah, I really like his stuff. It's just this is what I love also about YouTube. You have so many different types of creators, and everybody has sort of their own style and approach to things, and you can learn a lot from mostly everybody. Okay, let's draw my box here, and then let's see how I can put this thing in there. So if I go, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna put it into a box here, so I have sort of the proportions. So I have a bigger one, a smaller one, and the smallest one in the back. So it would be something like this, which means here I have something like that. I feel like I would need a nicer solution for the cockpit area there. What's your favorite marker brand? The cheapest one. Chrysler, the cheapest one would be my favorite. No, I don't have, I mean, Copic is really good, but Copic is stupidly expensive, so I just buy everything that is cheap and not Copic usually. So Style markers I like quite a bit. If you are in Asia, I haven't seen them here, but I know there's something called touch markers, which I found to be quite nice as well. So I would look into that. Then there's Arteza, has markers, but also like something that I always like pimping here. Here in the Netherlands, we have, I think it's also in the UK, but there's a super marker called Action, and there's this twin markers, and I think this set was, I don't know, it was super cheap. It was like €4. Like, look at it, it's 12 markers for €4. And yeah, they're not the best quality, but they can last you for quite a while. So I don't go necessarily by what I prefer most, is just what's cheaper, just because markers are stupid expensive. And markers are also not my main way of sketching all the time. I do quite a lot digital, so markers are more of a indulgence, almost, I would say. I like that. I mean, I draw from my head, but I can't, like, what he does is he just starts putting down lines, is what I meant, and then he builds his shapes from there. He doesn't pre-sketch, or at least not as much as I do. So you can see I started here until I ended here, and he starts immediately with like a design in his head, which I just find pretty awesome. Is this dry pen? No, it's just a fine liner. This Dutchies know again Hema. It's the cheapest fine liner you can buy. It's like $2 for 12 pens or $1.50 for 12 pens. Really, guys, I'm a cheapskate. I don't care about all the fancy schmancy equipment and marker stuff. It's rare that I have like the really expensive equipment pieces. Like the one thing that I bought that I would consider well, I don't know if it's expensive actually. It's just somebody recommended it to me, and I thought I'll try it. Are these Tombow pens, and they are like a hard brush pen. So like you can do very thin lines with it, but you can also tilt it and push it, and it becomes very thick. So these ones I like quite a bit. So this is what I jumped for, a little bit more money. Oh, I'm missing something. If you're intending this vehicle for military vehicles, how about adding Comanche helicopter style folding rocket? It's not military. It's more like what we talked about, the stagecoaches. So we are on a desert planet that we're trying to colonize. And we don't have the infrastructure, and we don't have the satellites yet set up for proper communication. And we have settlements that are quite far apart from each other. And then we would have this vehicle, which is sort of military grade, at least when it comes to its armoring, and then it's doing the running between the different settlements. There's the door, and then here would be the second one. Yeah, touch markers are quite cheap. Yeah, it's I had, because I was studying together with a bunch of Taiwanese people and also some Middle Eastern people, and I think both of them were using touch markers. So I can still come up with something for that. I have nothing in mind just yet. And then the hover part would pump out a bit. Something like that. And then the same here. I think this, I don't want to go into too much detail. I'm just going to jump over to our little, let me keep this here so I have it as an example. And I'll take my C1, and let's see. Did I miss any other comments? Welcome everybody else, by the way, if I didn't say hi to you yet. Nice, welcome back, Dara, sorry. Gabi H, do you ever draw in a sketchbook, or do you usually draw on paper like this? So I have this habit from back home. We didn't really have, oh, it's not straight again, is it? We didn't really have sketchbooks when I was growing up, or they were expensive, and my mom was working as an accountant. And in good old communist countries, you were used to just stealing everything from workplace. So my mom always had a million papers, bringing them home to me. So that's why I have this habit of drawing on loose papers. And if I draw on sketchbooks, I try to make them nicer just so I can flip through them later on. But I do have a bunch of sketchbooks which are also quite sketchy and dirty and really just ideation stuff, but that is a little bit rarer. Okay, I feel I want it a bit narrower because on the paper I also have it narrow. Okay, so this would be the front. A lot of measuring out and pre-sketching is gonna happen here now. It's also good because StyleFile also sends you refills. So I just bought some refills for my, something is not to my liking here. Oh yeah, of course, because it should come from here. There we go. That's better. Okay, let's see more questions. This is the sketchbook. Are we talking about Kim Jong-ji? Not about Kim Jong-ji. He's not the only one who can do that. But yeah, he definitely is one of the masters when it comes to drawing like that. How to develop that skill drawing from... So you just have to force yourself, right? You have to say, okay, I'm just gonna take a thick pen, like not something as thin as this, but maybe you take a Tombow and you just start putting down, before you start putting down lines, you take a couple of minutes and you just think. You start to see, okay, what do I want to draw? How does it look? And then within your head, you try to imagine how it looks, and then you start putting down lines. And it's gonna not go well in the beginning, but the more you do it, and the more you exercise this skill, the better you're gonna get at it sooner or later. Okay, so front is fine. This, and then we go a little bit there. Something like this. Yes, I was talking about Chroma Mama. I hear hearts breaking. Only toilet paper is where I indulge. Yes, that you need the 4 layers. I agree with that. I agree with Mark on the 4-layer toilet paper. Do you like character design? Yes, I do. It's just I'm really not that good at it. So since we're talking about character design, let me pimp another person that I really like. Brother Boston. Like, you should all follow this guy. If you're a little bit into character design or sci-fi in general, I really like him, and he needs much more love. He's been on YouTube for like 10 years and he only has 40,000 followers. So it would be cool if you guys are not following him yet, just check him out. And if you like him, give him that following. He's deserving it. But yeah, I do like character design. I suck at characters, sadly. I brought Ohuhu one time, because here in Argentina it's impossible to get alcohol markers. Oh really? That sucks. Why would it not be there? I mean, states are relatively far off from you guys, but I would imagine that you could import something from Japan or somewhere. It's ridiculous that you don't have alcohol markers. Oh. Okay, Roducci, you need to get off the potato and get some better non-potato internet. Apparently. Karl Kopinski, yeah, he's really good. I love his, I hope it's called Karl Kopinski, but I love his character stuff as well. And he has the same thing. Well, he does pre-sketching, but I just envy people who have this confidence in their lines and just start drawing them. Even though the lines can be a little bit wiggly, it's not a problem. So I decided to cut a little bit more off here from the back. So if you come back here to this paper, it would be here. I cut this part off a little bit because I think it's just cooler if we have that sort of back to it. I think, is this better if I turn on the light here? Yeah. It should not auto-adjust when I'm zooming. Okay, there we go. To become an illustrator or graphic designer, what are the main things that I would need? Well, first of all, graphic designer is very different from an illustrator. A graphic designer is somebody who knows, I don't know, it's a very different set of tools that you're learning as a graphic designer. For one, I'm a horrible graphic designer. I'm an okay illustrator. And people always think, oh, just because I know how to draw, it means that I will also be able to design graphic stuff. And no, sadly that's not how it's working most of the time. Okay, let's see this. So for illustration, you just need to do a lot of studies, look at people that you like, what and how they draw, what they draw, and you can sort of do that and learn by yourself. For graphic design, like there are several things like logo design, website design, poster design, and it's a lot of different things that you can learn. And there are a couple of good ones that I like, logo designs here on YouTube as well. I don't know their names, but I have a couple of guys that I follow because it's just really relaxing. Sometimes when I work, I just pop in their videos and listen and see how they like change a logo or something. But in general, yeah, for design related stuff, I always recommend school. Illustration, drawing, that's craftsmanship, I feel like you can learn that without school. But design, I do think at least their school is helpful in the beginning, if nowhere else. All this stuff looks straight out of an animation studio. Yeah, good. I was thinking I should have put him in the inspiration channel earlier, because I really like him and I always watch his stuff when I'm quite bad with colors, so I picked up his cheat of making everything just monochrome and then adding a gradient, like sort of a light value change. And that's the only way I usually do my colors. And after that, I try to go in and add more shading. Okay. A design theory is a good part. That is a good point, yeah. But yet again, design theory, yeah, it is good, yeah. It's just, yeah, keep in mind illustration is just because you know how to draw doesn't mean you're gonna be a good graphic designer. And of course it works the other way around as well. Just a watermelon. Oh, I didn't know they're fans of each other. I mean, I'm not anybody to talk shit about people. I thought like Kim Jong-jin's level is a little bit higher than Karl Kopinski, but yeah, also maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Every time I whip out one of these brown papers or a cardboard in this case, I get reminded and I ask myself why I don't do this more often, because this is really fun. But I have no answer to that. I really should do this more often. What's also really fun is if you want to try out like painting, you can also paint these. I did one with gouache. Let me pop up and show you. So you probably saw this on Instagram if you follow me. So we're going for something like this with my drawing here, just darker lines. And here we go. So these are some other spaceships that I did. But this is the one that I had a lot of fun with, because it looks almost like it's photoshopped, in my opinion, at least. It's that like the greens are so nice and crispy, and this is gouache, by the way. So yeah, I should do more gouache as well. It's another one of those things like, why don't I do this more often? I don't know. Okay, back to this one though. One of these spaceships, thank you. Wow, did you do your own, man? It's gonna be even much better than these ones. Trust me. Will you bring back those wits with a girlfriend? Not for a while, no. Like, it's just something that we tried out again, and yeah, it's something that we're not always comfortable with. So for now, we're taking a break with those. Might do some just for ourselves, for fun. Those are really fun, but yeah, we'll see. The girlfriend is here looking at me weirdly now. You can rename the live stream to Cardboard Thursday. Yeah, I could. That actually sounds good. I like that. Cardboard Thursday. Okay. Let's add some hover thing mechanism here. Yeah, so once again, what I like about this one is that now if I want, I can easily make darker areas, which with the other fine liner, which is way too thin, I can't really do this. You can. I have a box of gouache and brushes here, but I haven't had the chance to try them out yet. Any recommendations? Yeah. Try them out as quickly as possible. If you ever did watercolor, it's very similar to watercolor, but you can also use them very thick, and then it becomes that nice opaque sort of thing. And what's a bit different in gouache is that you go from dark to light, because with watercolor you leave empty spaces and then you add more and more color to make it darker. But with gouache you usually add the whiter colors or the brighter colors after you already have the darks done. So a little bit of a switch up there. But definitely just start experimenting. I mean, I have a whole bunch of these things that I have oils that I bought once, and I tried them out once, and I used a lot of turpentine with it, so I used it very much like watercolor with the turpentine, and it's fun, but I never really got into it. I don't know. For oils, I feel like it would be smart if I would maybe get a class or something, if I would take a master class with somebody, just to learn a bit more about it, because on my own I just don't feel like I will properly pick it up. But gouache is really easy and fun. I think here I had some intake. Any gouache recommendations for someone used to ID sketching, that is? Oh. So gouache is more like painting, I would say. So you can have the ID sketching type of setup for the drawing, and then, like, I don't know if you ever did with digital drawing where you just painted over your lines. So with gouache you have to think that you totally just get rid of your lines later on. Although in this one I didn't really get rid of all my lines. So maybe I'm talking nonsense. But gouache is good for blocking in. So if you don't want to have a lot of transition in the beginning, it's really nice and fast for blocking in shapes as well. Okay. Oh. So something that I like is these little mistakes, the Bob Ross type of mistakes when you pre-draw with a marker. I didn't see that I could add some sort of pipe thing here, and I just saw it now, and I thought that, oh yeah, that actually looks pretty good. and I am going to do that. I'm still stuck on color pencils. Well, I'm horrible with color pencils. Like those I bought as well because once we met a friend of my girlfriend's, and like he was a color pencil artist, and he was like going out and taking sketches in nature, and those were amazing. And I was like, oh, I want to try this, and I got myself some color pencils, and oh no, I suck at this. So I didn't really use it. What inspired by Back to the Future car? Was this inspired by Back to the Future car? No, but I see where you see the inspiration. I see where I see the inspiration. I think it's very impressive that you draw that spaceship on paper without using the shortcut. Well, I think it's important to do a little bit of traditional drawing, just because it really takes away that safety net of undo, right? Because otherwise with undo, sometimes when I draw on the iPad especially, and then an hour later, a couple of minutes later, then I feel like quickly sketching something out on paper, I catch myself double tapping for the undo and nothing happens, and I laugh at myself. So yeah, it is good and important to take a break from technology every now and then. That's pretty close. The tutorials on ArtStation are free for the whole year. There's a lot of, yeah, that is correct. Don't forget, everybody. ArtStation was bought by Epic Games, if I'm correct. And for the rest of the year, all the tutorials are free, and there are a lot of great tutorials, amongst which are also 2 of mine. So check those out. Should I make this a round one? Oh, I could. Okay, let's make it round. Use waterproof ink on your lines. Yeah, always. That's something that sometimes, especially when I go cycling, I have to take some of my Staedtler pens with me, and in general I like to draw quickly, just ideate more with these, but with these I can't go over with watercolor. So indeed it is good advice to have those on you all the time. Okay, let's see this. Can cardboards be an alternative to watercolor paper? I have... Ooh, honestly I don't think so. I have never tried watercolor on carbon, but just if you drop a couple of droplets here, I think it's gonna go quite bad. I would not use watercolor on cardboard. At least not on this packaging one that is, as you can see, I don't know if you can see it, it's like double layered and with a hole in between. Like if you have a really thick cardboard, let me see if I have something like that. I don't have it, but that might work. I would say if you don't have proper watercolor paper, you can go for mixed media paper. Like that is, I think that's still better than like this sort of packaging cardboard paper. Okay, so the question here is, do I do the... Okay, I'm a bit scared because I want the lines to be nice. I'm just gonna do the slowly Illustratory dot it around until it's nice. Thank you, David. So just to talk a little bit about watercolor paper, I have, so what I use for my sketchbooks most of the time are these. So Sea White of Brighton, and it's all media, so, or mixed media, I like to call it mixed media. It's not the thickest, as you can see, but it is still okay. So let me see. So I have a couple of watercolors here, but it already wrinkles the paper. So let me bring it a bit lower and tilt it. Yeah, so here on the side you can see that it goes up and down and up and down. So it's still better than cardboard, but yeah, here especially as well. Like it's quite wavy the more water you use. So one or two passes are fine. But if you use more, it's gonna become very, very wavy. Hey Sherban, I'm good, man. I decided to draw on cardboard because it's been a while since I drew on some sort of brown paper. And we are doing a hover delivery truck system thing that is armored, because we are on a planet that we're just colonizing, and it's sort of like the Wild West. Everything is up for grabs. Okay, I did not think about how the so we would have this here. Yeah, I think I'm going to point it this way, just for composition, because these two are probably going to cut it off, and I just noticed that it's a little bit skewing that way. So just so this don't lead, also it leads the eye a little bit too much off the page, so at least this way the eye will come a little bit back around, if I do it correctly. And also it's more interesting for the silhouette, because the silhouette is this, and it would have just continued like that, but this way at least I have a little bit of a break in the silhouette. Okay, I just threw some lines down there, and the rest I have to figure out. Thanks, Roducci. There. So also I want to cheat. There's a lot of detail that I could add here, so I'm just gonna add some more darker shadowy black areas just to cheat that detail that I don't want to add at the moment. Same here. Oh yeah, I forgot the second horror thing. When you draw things like this, it's good to be a little bit consistent in the repetition. So try to keep that shape as much as possible. Which would be very easy if I was drawing digitally, because I would just probably copy paste it and then skew it into perspective. Do you not pronounce it as Roduci? I was always just pronouncing it as Roduci. I can also add this sort of detail to the front thing as well. Okay. And basically now more of the detailing comes. Something that I forgot is I wanted to add sort of a lookout cockpit situation here. So now all the grabbles and sci-fi widgets and technical details that you remember, you can add all of them. We have a bunch of sensors for which you can add a little bit of cut-ins, all sorts of detail elements. Obviously some antenna. I always like adding antenna to my designs. Could have been slightly less thick. Underbelly can be a bit thicker, we don't mind it there. It's also a good idea to switch back a little bit to the gray one. It is, but like you guys told me last time, it's a bit hard. Also, why do they call it a cockpit? That's the funniest thing. I never thought about why it's called that, but indeed it's a little bit silly sounding. I'm not gonna deny that. Okay, actually we could add a color here. I feel like that would be interesting. Yeah. Maybe some rounded element there. Also, technically, it shouldn't be a cockpit because it's not an airplane. It's more like a driver area thing. I don't know. Dot connect. Dot connect. Okay. Here as well. I think this one could have a couple of more lines in it. Something that would make it interesting is I also add like a shadow. And the good thing also with, well, the good and the bad thing. Let's start with the bad thing. So the bad thing with cardboard, that it's sucking the hell out of your markers. So your markers will get empty much faster if you draw on cardboard than if you would use marker paper or just normal paper. But then the good thing is, yeah, it has nowhere to hit over to the other side. So you don't have to worry about keeping a paper just for that below it. I forgot to add lights, which I don't know how important they are, because technically you're in the future, so you could use like infrared imaging, and you could switch to just computer guided, and all the sensors could do the work. But I just like how lights look, and also they break up the shape a bit nicely, so that's usually a good indicator. Do you really want to know? Yeah, I'm actually also curious, Ru. If you know the answer, I would be curious myself as well. Jesus Christ, what is this music? We're listening to a banjo here. What the hell? Okay, I feel like maybe adding... Oh yeah, I wanted to do some air intake sort of things. Well, we're coming close to the end of the 1 hour. I might not be able to stick to exactly 1 hour, but it will not be much longer than that. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so now I can take my, actually let me see if I have anything left in these. How to draw a mech robot with heavy armor and make it look like it can still move? Well, make it nimble, I guess. First draw it without armor, make it sure that it looks like it can move without armor, and then start adding armor pieces onto it. Yeah, this baby is empty. This baby is empty. But it's fine. Yeah, I'm not gonna force this one. I might have some left in this. Yeah, in general, that's also when you're doing character design. Since somebody was asking about character design, it will help you if you draw the character without the clothes on, so just the naked body, and then start putting clothes on top of that, just because it will be much more correct anatomically as well. This is a bit too dark. I don't want to go immediately with this one, so let's go with our grace, or even going over things twice. Don't go over it to like wait for it to dry and then go over it again. That's the technique here. And then I'm gonna take a lighter one. Let me see if I have. I thought just in general I like orangey sort of lines. Let me see if we can do something here with an orange. It's the orange blends a bit with the brown of the paper. So if I take a yellow, and this looks also somewhat different. Interesting. Well, let's just try a couple until we find one that works. Still, this orange I think might work the best. Question, how many people can fit on it? So I would say you have a driver and an engineer, and then I would say 6 comfortably with luggage. But then you have to, well actually, see that's a good point. Since it's always good to add a person for something like that. Where's my tumble? For reference. Yeah, I think went a bit too long, but I like this sort of size. For a person next to it. I think that's a good size comparison. So probably here some gouache would work nicer, just because it's already dark and I could use a light gouache for the yellow. But we might still solve it other ways. Okay, so I can go to a darker gray now. Once again, it looks a bit scary dark, but it should not be a problem. It will probably dry much clearer. This is just some different material here. What is that? Okay. Or is I don't really want to use the C1 anymore. Okay, and what I like to do is I go a bit darker, and then wherever you have edges like this, like you can make it a bit more contrasty by bringing a little bit of a darker outline just next to the edge. That's gonna make it look even nicer. I feel like I should come in here as well. So this is quite a bit of back and forth here, seeing how much it takes from the color and how much more you have to add. Want to make sure not to go over that yellow area. This one could be a bit darker, so I'm going to take a C3. There we go. These actually should not be so bright either. This could be a darker material, so I just go over my C3 there, and I decide this is also darker material. Same with the gun barrels, or whatever we want to call those. And this could be a darker little patch there to make it look a bit more interesting. There we go. Then I'll take, I think this was C2, right? So, and this is my C3. So I can do sort of the same trick here, where I just make sure to strengthen the edge here. Right. I'm going to take my C5, quite bold, just strengthen these lines here. Bring some of that darkness in here as well. Will you give it a slight blue tint on the upward panels to show the sky color? No, because let me show you what happens. So we have some blues here, and as I said, with marker it will look a bit weird. So I would have to use probably again gouache or something like that. What I will do on the other hand is this here. It's a white pencil, and oh, here it is. I am going to, so I can't sadly sharpen this with my sharpener because it is an anus and it just doesn't want to collaborate with me. Every time I sharpen it, it breaks it. So I'm trying to be very gentle here. There we go. So now I can sort of give this a shine. I just go over like this. And then let's see if I do have a toilet paper here that I used for watercolors. And I just rub it out a little bit like this. And then it becomes already a bit shinier. And you can add some more, build the white a little bit. There we go. I make sure to try and fade it as well, because I don't want it to all stay in the same area. And then just rub it a bit again. And in the end, I will probably have to go over it with black lines again. But this should make it look good. Bogdan, good night, my man. Yeah, the girlfriend. So this is just so everybody knows that this is the stamp that controls me, and this was just a nice flower that she was trying out. I mean, yeah. I enjoy them. It's funny. I find it extremely funny to have nails done as a man. Good night, Saman, as well. Or Saman was going, not Bogdan. Yeah, man. Yeah, I like this. Something that always helps, of course, taking the proper white pencil, or not pencil, but like this is a gel pen, and just going over things. It will make everything pop so much more. Go. Maybe here a bit. Is the way she's marking the marking territory exactly? It is marking territory. Yeah. To be honest, she loves nail art, so she uses me to experiment a lot as well, which is quite funny. How dark are you, my friend? Let me see. I feel like I can bring in a bit more white here as well. If someone gave me black nails, I would give them well, yeah, because black nails are usually if you hit them with a hammer or something. So yeah, no, that's not pleasant, I can imagine. But this is not that sort of black nail. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's a good one, Rodica. I'll give you that one. That's a free one. Yeah. CG3. So this is the long part where I look at it and I keep going over it and like, okay, that can be a bit darker, that can be a bit darker. You want to have a nice nice contrast with what you're doing. So do I CG4, or maybe I can just use the CG3 again. How do you exercise to draw from the mind? Well, first you draw a lot of from reference, as Reflector says. It's not that you're not supposed to draw from your mind, but imagine like if you go to school and the teacher asks you to write a history test in your first ever history class. Of course you would fail it because you never took history before. So first you have to learn about history before you can take a test. It's pretty much the same with drawing from your mind. First you have to fill your mind with all sorts of existing reference materials before you can actually draw from your mind. What is the CG2? So from looking at other artists, drawing what they drew, looking at what's in nature, looking at what sort of machineries we already built, all the way to reading books, watching movies, watching cartoons, everything that sort of sparks your imagination and makes your fantasy run, makes you want to come up and it's like if you read a good book and you want to, oh, like what might that look like? You can sit down and you can try drawing it. Or you can watch a movie and you can try to see if you can maybe redesign something or just redraw whatever you saw in the movie that you thought was really cool. There we go. Do I like anime? Yes, I would say I do like anime. I mean, I just rewatched on Netflix Yu Yu Hakusho, and I am watching Kuroko's Basketball. And in general, I like a lot of giant robot stuff. I guess that's somewhat evident from what I draw quite often. Where is my gel pen? The more you coloring it, the more it looks like from Ian McHugh. Oh, thank you, man. That is a very nice compliment. I will take that and run with it. Magnetic propulsion, man. It's a metal sandy planet. I don't know how these sort of what are these hover things work. You have them in a lot of movies. They're never explained. I'll just go with that. It's like magic or something. Did I put the yellow away? Apparently I did. I wanted to go over it one more time, but I could actually try and just... Oh, let me see if I can lighten it with the white. That might be a possibility. So I put my white pencil on the yellow. I'm now rubbing it a bit, just to see if I can make it pop a bit more. Maybe. And I'm going to take a CG2 and just make sure to draw an outline. Other than the black line that we already have there, I just want a bit of separation here. I'm not sure if it's working, but at least we tried. Magic propulsion, yep, that is probably it. Magic propulsion is always better. I am a noob, anonymous. I am also a noob when it comes to other things. Everybody is a noob in life compared to other things that they're not good at. That's how this life works. Okay. I think I can, I'm almost ready to call this. I just want to bring in some, CG4, some ambient occlusion things. So wherever these things are touching, I want a bit more shadow area. Like this. Here we can have some more. Here as well, I want some more shadow. And then just make the not cockpit area a little bit brighter as well. Okay. I like to bring it just a bit even more white in there. There we go. nice little, maybe it is not an overcast day, but or just very lightly overcast, and you have a bunch of brightness in the sky. Technically you could have a little bit of fading, right, of white from here all the way up to there. This is just me guessing that could work. I think it does. I think it's nice. Let's bring in a bit more. So we have a nice fade on the side as well. There we go. And that is our little hover car. Oh, this moved completely, guys. You should have told me something. There we go. This is Neil Art set of drawing channel, yeah. No utility vehicle. We are nicely stopping at the 1.5 hour mark almost. Yeah, actually, before I go, you're right. A little bit of bounce light here will not hurt. That is true. Let us bring some of that in there. But this I should have done with just adding less marker there. But this will have to do. Good one, Uduchi. Let me see if we can also erase some of it. Okay, now it has a little bit of bounce light as well, so everybody's happy. Okay, let me position this in the center. And yeah, thank you everybody for joining this little stream of mine, of ours, let me say it like that. And yeah, I hope you are having a great day, great weekend, enjoy the nice weather, which I hope you're having as well. And see you in the next video, everybody. Thanks again for joining in. Bye-bye.